Good day everyone, and welcome to the third week of our lesson for Practical Research 1. And this week we're going to focus on the creating or choosing your topic for your research paper, because this course or this subject is intended for you to create your research paper. And one of the major steps in doing that is for you to create, plan, or decide what is the best topic or title that is in line with your interest, because we all know that when we are doing research, it should be based or it should be connected with our interest. Because if we are conducting research which is not in line or aligned with our interest, then maybe there is a possibility for us to fail the conduct of our research paper. So before we jump to the topic proper, I'm going to introduce to you first the subject teachers of Practical Research 1 here in Binyan City Senior High School, San Antonio campus. And here they are. Alright, so let's start with the ever beautiful and one of the intelligent faculty members of the San Antonio campus. She is no other than Ma'am Linjoy O. Martin. Next on the list is Ma'am Angelica Manukot. Third one, or the third teacher on our list is Ma'am Violeta Liena. So she is one of the newest appointed faculty or subject teacher for the Practical Research 1. And the last one will be yours truly. I'm Sir John Maverick M. Galang, but you can call me Sir Mav. So I'm also teaching oral communication and context last semester, and for this semester I am one of the subject teachers for the Practical Research 1. Alright, so let's proceed with the objectives of this topic for this week. Alright, so Alright, so in designing your research project, you should include your goal, alright? So, or the goal of your study and the theoretical framework, the research questions or your guides and ethics, and the methods you will use to analyze your data. So at the end of this lesson, you will be expected to, of course, number one, to design a research paper or research project related to daily life. What do you mean by that? You will create a research project or research paper that is related sa pang-araw-araw nyong buhay or ginagawa, or everything under the sun. Number two, write a research title applying what you have learned about qualitative research. So as we all know, you were able to learn about the quantitative and qualitative research from the previous weeks of our lesson here in Practical Research 1. And I know that you are all familiar with the difference or differences between the qualitative and quantitative research. Alright, so you will be able to create or write your own title applying what you have learned about qualitative research. So when we say qualitative research, it's more on descriptive, based on what you observed in your surroundings or anything that can be observed. Alright, so number three, states research question. So you will be able to know how are you going to write research question. And number four, appreciate the use of research on daily life. So for weeks 1 and 2, I think you were oriented or informed about the basic information or the essentials of research or conducting research. Okay, so much for the objectives. Let's proceed to our topic, which is creating a title. Alright, so let's start our discussion with a concept map of a research design project. So as you can see on my screen, that research design is composed of two categories: the conceptual design and the technical design. So for the conceptual design, it is more, or it is based merely on observations and an analyzation of a present topic. So meaning to say, you will not undergo experimentations or practical experimentations, because in conceptual design you are depending on abstract ideas. Alright, abstract ideas. It is based on what you see or what you observe, and then out of the observation, you will be able to proceed to the next step, which is the technical design. So for the technical design, let me show you here an example. Alright, so for technical design on my screen, as you can see here, technical research design is a set of activities needed to realize the objectives set out in a conceptual design phase. Just like what I've said to you earlier, na ang conceptual design ay based lang sa ating observation. So from there, out of the observation or analyzation of a present topic, we will be able to learn to decide how, where, and when it comes to technical research design. We will answer those questions: how, where, and when. So paano natin siya ma-achieve? How are we going to achieve those how are we going to achieve the accurate result for our conceptual design? Of course, we have to undergo 3 phases. Number 1, research strategy. When we say research strategy, it is your methodology. How are you going to do your research? Alright? And then research material. When we say research material, this is the tool that you need to use in doing your research, in conducting our research. And tools will serve as our material or medium in data gathering. Next, research planning. When we say research planning, this is the part where you will plan the flow of your research from the start until the end of your research. How are you going to start your research paper? And to start your research paper, you have to choose or identify a research topic, and then you will create out of the topic a title that best describes the problem that you want to solve or resolve. Okay? So in Filipino, hanap ka ng topic na gusto mo, or let's say naka-angkla sa iyong interest, yung talagang gusto mong malaman, and then out of the topic, you will create a title. Gagawa ka ng isang title na mag-express, or let me say mag-describe ng iyong topic. Ano ba yung problema na nakikita mo based on the topic that you were able to choose based on your interest? Okay, so that is conceptual design and technical design. So next, as you can see here, there are major dito, makikita nyo, diba?
Ito, this one. Research objective. Next, research framework, research questions and model, definitions and operationalization, research strategy, research material, research planning. So let's start with research objective. When you say research objective, what do you really want to do with your research? What are your goals in conducting this research? What do you want to know? What are the ways that you need to do in conducting this research? Ano ba yung mga bagay na gusto mong ma-achieve sa paggawa nitong research na to? Is this for fun only? Or this is for educational purpose? Or for example, your problem is assessment on the reading comprehension, the effects of or impacts of gadgets on the reading comprehension of the students. If that's your problem, in Filipino, ano yung nagiging impact ng gadgets sa reading comprehension ng mga bata? So if you want that topic or if you want that title, for example, to be your research, to be a part of your research, meaning to say, iisip ka kung ano yung goal mo doon. Okay? Let's say, for example, this research is conducted to know the impacts of gadgets in the reading comprehension of the student. For example, in terms of let's say the speed of reading, the comprehension of the student, and at the same time vocabulary, next spelling, and let's say definition or connotations and denotations. So those are the examples, those are the things that you have to bear in mind. So ano pa yung mga pwede mong objectives? Let's say gusto mong i-conduct yung study because para ma-present sa set of people the result of your study, if gadget is really beneficial on the reading comprehension of the students or not. So yun, ano pa ba? So malaki ba ang nagiging epekto malaki ba ang nagiging disadvantage ng gadget sa reading comprehension ng bata? Nagiging mahina ba ang kanyang understanding, or nalululong ba ang estudyante sa paggamit ng gadget kaya hindi na marunong magbasa ang mga bata? So those are just example of objectives of the study. Next, research framework. When we say research framework, it is your diagram or what you call this? The diagram or the, I forgot the terminology, but it is the framework or the paradigm. The paradigm. So when we say framework, you are showing or presenting the flow of your research. Okay, so let me try to look for a conceptual framework. Example of conceptual framework in qualitative research. So here are the examples of conceptual framework in qualitative research. This one, for example, okay, hindi siya ma-open ng malaki. Open image in user. Ayan. So for example, conceptual framework or the title can be parsed according to function. First is a dependent variable. Next is the dependent variable. So in this case, ang study ng author or researcher is the effects, I think, of stress, sleep disorder, and troubled adolescents sa depression. Okay? Ano yung nagiging role ni stress, ni sleep disorder, or troubled adolescents when it comes to depression? So when we are having depression, stress, sleep disorder, and troubled adolescents are contributing factors when we have depression. So stress, sleep disorder, troubled adolescents are all considered as independent variable, and this one is dependent variable. So kung itong si stress, sleep disorder, troubled adolescents, and depression ay present sa iyong title, you have to identify the independent and dependent variable. So dito, bakit siya naging dependent variable? Because stress is one of the factors in having depression. Same with sleep disorder, troubled adolescents. So lahat ng ito ay independent variable, at si depression ay dependent sa kanila because these are contributing factors, the stress, sleep disorder, and troubled adolescents. Walang depression kung walang ganito, stress, sleep disorder, or troubled adolescents. And so much for that. This is an example of framework. So pinakita niya na itong stress, sleep disorder, or troubled adolescents has something to do with depression. Kaya kung makikita ninyo, the arrow is pointing to depression, sleep disorder is pointing to depression also, and troubled adolescent is pointing to depression also, which is dependent variable. So this is how you are going to create your conceptual framework. So, eto, marami pang example. So, theoretical and conceptual framework. This is somehow complicated. This one. What else? This one. Another. Okay, so the food taste of service, performance, meaning to say so leads to customer satisfaction. So what do you mean by that? These are contributing factors again in having customer satisfaction. So just like what I've said earlier, these are all independent variables, and this one is the dependent variables. So kung merong masarap na pagkain, merong mabilis ang serbisyo at maganda ang performance ng staff, ibig sabihin magkakaroon ng customer satisfaction. Satisfied ka sa serbisyo ng restaurant or fast food na kinakainan mo. So that is an example of conceptual framework. So much for that. Let's go back to the concept map. Next is the research question and conceptual model. So research framework and conceptual model is somehow the same, but research question is the statement of the problem of your research. So for the statement of the problem, always remember that you have to formulate questions based on your study. Walang study na walang questions. Bakit? Ano ba ang role ng question sa research? The role of questions or statement of the problem is for you to be guided. What will be the problem that you need to solve or you need to answer on your research? Ano ba yung mga dapat mong sagutin based doon sa napili mong topic or title? So, yun yung mag-guide sa'yo kung saan ka dapat papunta lang. Okay? Next, definitions, operationalization. Sorry for that. When we say definitions and operationalization, you have to define terminologies out of your study that is unfamiliar or that is present on your study. You should not define those terminologies based on the dictionary. It should be operational, based on your study. Ano yung naging definition ng word na yon based doon sa function niya sa iyong study? Ano ba yung naging ibig sabihin niya in Filipino? Anong naging ibig sabihin ng term na yon sa study mo? So, hindi mo siya i-define or hindi mo siya ibibigyan ng meaning na galing sa dictionary. Okay? So, based doon sa kanyang function sa iyong study. So, sa iyong paper. Yun yung pag-define ng isang terminology. For example, academic performance. When we say academic performance, yun yung performance of a student in the school. So let me, for example, in the classroom, ganito, ganyan. So, based on the dictionary. But based on your study, for example, academic performance, it is the performance of the students based on the or performance of the students inside the school for example, in Binyan City Senior High School San Antonio Campus kasi ganun siya dinefine sa iyong research study. Okay? Next, research strategy. What are your methodology? What are your research strategies to use? Paano mo ba siya ikakandak? Magkakaroon ka ba ng survey questionnaire? Are you going to use research questionnaire or interviews? Or you will observe, or what else? You will transcribe. So there are a lot of ways for you to conduct the research paper. Next, research material. This is your research tool, just like what I've said earlier. The tool or the medium that you're going to use in conducting your research. Paano ka mag-data gathering? How are you going to gather data using your material? So you have to think of a good or accurate research tool or research material that will help you gather data. So it will really help. It is a major factor in doing research because all of your data will be coming from your research tool. Okay. Next, research planning. I've mentioned this earlier. The flow of your what will be the process or the overall flow of your research from the start until the end of your paper. So in designing your qualitative research, you have to consider whether the topic you have chosen is relevant to you as a learner. And I suggest to every one of you to please choose a topic or create a title that is based or that is connected with your interest, because it's really hard to conduct a study or a research na hindi ka interesado. Sayang lang yung oras at pagod mo if you are not interested in doing that kind of research. So, kung mahilig ka sa language, learn to think of topics that is in line with linguistics. Language. Kung mahilig ka naman sa ICT, if you are coming from the ICT, o mag-iisip ka of possible topics or issues that you observe in your surrounding or on a daily life basis. For example, assessment on the performance of ICT 3 students in ICT 3 students in let's say formulating or creating an educational application. So, yun, related yun sa ICT. Next, sa cookery naman, or let's say sa language, let me say, language used by vendors in the marketplace here in Binyan City, Laguna. So, mga ganong topic, dapat inline siya sa inyong interest. Yung interesado kayo gawin. So, therefore, the first question you should answer is, what is the issue, phenomenon, or problem in my school or community that needs my special attention by conducting a research? Ano ba yung mga pangyayari or problema in and out of the school or in the community that you think needs your special attention by conducting a research? Ano ba yung nakakuha ng attention mo na sa tingin mo pwede mong gawa ng research na problema or issue na makikita in and out of the school or in the community? Basta nakaangkla siya sa iyong interest. Okay? So, I hope you are learning so far on our discussion for this for this week, and now we will proceed with the things you have to remember in writing the research title. All right. So as you can see here on my screen, kung nakikita niyo ba ang aking screen? Okay, so baka hindi. Ayan. So I just transfer my camera angle on the right side for you to see the following guidelines or things to remember in writing a research title. So here are the basic questions asked about the research title. So, does the title describe the study, what the study is all about? Yung title mo ba nagigets na agad ng mga magbabasa kung ano yung tungkol sa research mo? So, for example, ang research mo ay tungkol sa, for example, you want to conduct a research about the language used by the vendors in a marketplace here in Binyang City, Laguna. So, ang gusto mong topic is ano ba yung nagiging role ng language sa pagbebenta ng mga vendors ng kanilang produkto sa isang marketplace dito sa Binyang City, Laguna. So, if that's your topic, then you will come up with a title that is which exactly expresses the thought of your topic. So, language used by vendors in a marketplace in Binyang City, Laguna. So, that is an example. Hindi naman pwede na gusto mong malaman yung lingwahe ng mga ang epekto or role ng language sa pagtitinda ng isang produkto ng isang vendor sa isang marketplace. Tapos, ang nilagay mong title, academic performance of students, blah, blah, blah. Pero ang gusto mong mangyari is yung role ng language sa pagtitinda ng mga vendors sa isang marketplace. So, it's different, right? So, you have to really identify a topic and then himay-himayin mo siya kung ano ba talaga yung gusto mong mangyari, yung gusto mong bigyan ng solusyon, then try to create your own title. Sulat lang ng sulat hanggang sa makuha mo yung tamang timpla ng iyong title. Alright? So next, does the title contain high specificity level? When we say specificity, yung pagiging straight to the point. Specific ang variables. So, kung gusto mo language used by the vendors in a marketplace, nandun na agad, specified agad kung ano yung gusto mong pag-aralan, yung lingwahe. Para saan? Doon sa pagtitinda nila. Next, kung sino yung involved, syempre yung vendors. Saan siya makikita? Sa marketplace dito sa Binyang City, Laguna. Pwede mo rin tama ang taon 2022 to 2023. Pwede rin ganun. So, specified, straight to the point. Meaning to say, you have already answered the WH questions that is necessary in doing your title. Alright? Next, is the title academically phrased and not verbose? Okay, next, guidelines in choosing a research topic. Ito na siya. Medyo nalalayo at ako nagyan. Guidelines in choosing a research topic. Number 1, interest in the subject matter. Yun nga yung sinasabi ko again and again that you have to be interested with your subject matter. Number 2, availability of information. Always remember na in conducting a research, it is not just as easy as 1, 2, and 3. Why? Because choosing a topic is just the start of your planning stage. Okay? The planning stage. When you are choosing a topic, please make sure that there are also enough resources or references that you can use as a support to your study within 5 years duration. Isipin nyo muna tingnan nyo muna kung may mga available information that is existing from existing, for example, from a journal, e-library or library, books, or articles, online resources, mga ganyan, within 5 years duration. Kasi mahirap suportahan ang isang study if you don't have enough resources or references. Okay? So, kung nakaisip ka na ng title, for example, make sure to check also the references available for your study. Okay, hindi lang siya basta-basta, ay, nakaisip na ako, nakagawa na akong title, okay na yon. Pero pagdating ng panahon, you encountered problems or issues because you weren't able to find resources or references that will support your study. Okay? Number 3, timeliness and relevance of the topic. Of course, when you are doing your title, once you will create your title, make sure that it is timely and relevant. Yung napapanahon or nangyayari ngayon. Okay? Nangyayari ngayon or last year or mangyayari in the future. So, timely and relevant yung topic. Yung hindi naman 2022 na tayo, but your topic is from the 1951. So, do you think people will still read most of the people will read your study because your topic was all about or is all about 1951 pa. So, make sure that your title is timely and relevant. Number 4, limitation on the subject. Do not make it complicated. You just have to specify you have to put a limit, you have to set a limit doon sa study na gagawin mo. Dapat doon lang siya, hindi siya lalagpas. If you are focusing on reading comprehension and academic performance, doon lang dapat siya papasok sa dalawa. Wala nang papasok na extracurricular activities or what. Dapat doon ka lang mag-focus sa dalawang factors. If that's your study, for example, academic performance and reading comprehension. So, kung yun lang ang gusto mong pag-aralan, doon ka lang mag-stick. You will not go out of the box. You will not go around the bush. Be specific and make it more specific and detailed and informative. Do not go around the bush and do not go out of the box para hindi ka mahirapan. Number 5, personal resources. Yun nga, you have your resources, not only the references or the books, but you have your, also, for example, laptop and, let's say, you're going out to observe mga personal materials that you think you will need. For example, sa cell phone, because you will research for possible research topics, you will read online resources or references, ganyan. Alright? So, we're done with the guidelines in choosing a research topic. Now, we will proceed with the research topics to be avoided. Ano ba yung mga dapat mong iwasan when you are looking for research topics? Number 1, controversial topic. Yung mga minasakit, ganito ganyan, or politics, I think. On your level, you have to stick with your interest lang muna. On your level of interest, so most likely it is based on, or most likely it is linked on education and studies like that. Number 2, highly technical subjects, like I think yung experimentations. For example, in your level, since grade 11 pa lang kayo, you will not go further with inventions. Like, napaka-imposible or iwasan mo na rin highly technical subjects yung medyo, let's say, crimes, just like that, inventions, na medyo malabo na rin highly technical. Siguro mga science related ito. I'm not so sure about this. But Yeah, highly technical. Yeah, maybe. Number 3, hard to investigate subjects. Hard to investigate subject. For example, you're here in the Philippines, but you wanted to investigate why Mount Everest ay nagkaroon ng ice breakdown. So pupunta ka pa doon to investigate? No, that is too hard on your side. So you will just take on what is around you, or you will just focus on what is available to you at the moment. Alright? Too narrow subjects, medyo makitid, and vague, makitid na subject na hindi na rin naman masyadong ma-identify kung ano yung problem, or something that doesn't need research. Number 6, vague subjects. When you say vague, malabo, cannot be distinguished, or something that is unclear. Alright? Next, we are on the last part of our lesson for this week, which is all about the research questions. So research questions are specific questions, take note of this, specific questions that researcher wants to know the intent of the study. So it directs the data to be collected for the study. So the following shows you link among the following: the research problem, research topic, research question, and the construction of one general and specific questions in the research paper. So, yeah, research problem. The need to have a safer, comfortable, and helpful walk or transfer of students from place to place in the UST campus. This is the research problem. The need to have a safer, comfortable, and helpful walk or transfer of students from place to place in the UST campus ay in Tagalog or in Filipino, pangangailangan ng safe or ligtas, komportable at helpful walk or transfer of students. Kunyari sa school, yung ating safe ba yung pag-transfer natin from one place to another, from building A to building B, nagiging safe ba siya? Hindi ba siya nagiging prone to danger para sa part ng estudyante? So what is the research topic? The research topic is the construction of a covered pathway in the UST campus. General question. So the topic is pagko-construct o pagkakaroon ng covered pathway. Yung pathway na dinadaanan ng mga bata para hindi maulanan, hindi maarawan, at intended lang siya para daanan ng mga estudyante. So, no motorcycles, no cars, or any vehicles allowed in pathway. Just people or students who will walk in and out of the campus or the school. So, general question, what kind of covered path should UST construct in its campus? General question siya kasi the researcher is asking for the kind of covered court. Ano lang yung klase ng covered court na gagawin sa UST campus? So, yun yung general question. Ano yung specific? Specific questions. What materials are needed for the construction of the covered pathway in the UST campus? As you can see here in the general questions, given the covered path, the covered path was mentioned in the general question. What kind of covered pathway? So if the kind of covered pathway was introduced, ngayon, i-specify mo naman yung question. Ihimay-himayin mo naman yung possible questions based sa general question. Number 1 dito na nilagay, what are the needed materials? Ano yung mga materials na gagamitin para mabuo yung covered path na yan na sinasabi sa general question? What are the materials needed for the construction of the covered pathway? Meaning to say, you are specifying what materials are needed for the construction of the covered pathway. Number 2, what roofing material is appropriate for the covered path? So, it's not basically just about covered path, but you have to specify the right roofing material that is appropriate for your covered path. Ano ba yung tamang bubong na dapat ilalagay mo dun sa covered pathway na yun? Okay, color roof ba siya o yung simple lang na na bubong. So meaning to say, specific. You have to specify the right material for roofing. Okay? Next, in what way can be the covered pathway link all buildings in the campus? So, covered pathway is still mentioned. Meron ng covered pathway. Ang tanong naman ngayon, in-specify ng researcher the buildings in the campus. So, for example, what way can be the covered pathway link all the buildings? Paano siya malilink sa iba pang building? So, yun, i-specify din. Number 4, what is the width and height of a covered pathway? So, this is not general question, this is specific kasi you will specify the correct or accurate width and height sa covered pathway na gagawin mo. And the last one is, paano ang covered pathway can be considered as a green architecture. Paano ba siya makakonsidered na makakatulong talaga siya not only for the students but also for the benefits of those who are inside the campus. So, ano yung mga benefits or ano ba yung realizations in creating this covered pathway? So, yun yung mga specific questions na nagsusupport na inyong general question. So always remember that. So out of your general question, you have to parse or you have to pick possible specific questions that can be filtered out of your general questions. So if you have questions regarding doing your or creating your research questions, feel free to ask your teachers in Practical Research 1 because this is just basic information about research problems. So if you have or if you want more examples, feel free to contact your Practical Research 1 teacher. Same with the research problem and research title. So if you need assistance, we are all here, your Practical Research 1 teachers, to help you out with your study. Okay, so I think that is the last part of our discussion for this week, which is the third week of our lesson here in Practical Research 1. And I'm hoping that you will be able to answer your modules and at the same time your integrative performance tasks because that is very important, and at the same time your summative test, written summative test. So yeah, please do all of the tasks that we are giving to you because that's gonna be graded, and most especially the integrative performance task and the written summative test. So please submit it on time, and please do that based on what you have learned from this video lesson or from this topic.
Alright, so much for that discussion. I think, or I am hoping that you were able to learn a lot from this discussion for our third week. Here in Practical Research 1. And if you have any questions, please contact or PM your teachers in PR1 because we are here to help you out if you are struggling with your title or research topic. And if you have any questions, feel free to chat us in our group chats, or you may send a PM to your teacher. Okay, so much for it. I think we will see each other again by next week because I'm going to discuss another topic for week 4, and yeah, so I hope to see you again soon, everyone, and stay blessed and be safe. Bye.